Okay, I'm going to call the February 4th, 2019 meeting of the Salina City Commission to order. Could we have roll call, please?
Mayor Davis.
Here.
Commissioner Hay.
Here.
Commissioner Hodges.
Here.
Commissioner Hoppick.
Here.
Commissioner Ryan.
Here.
If you're able, please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awards and proclamations.
Item 3.1, the month of February 2019 is Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month in the city of Salina. Courtney Train, youth advocate, mentor with DVAC, will read the proclamation.
Hello, good afternoon, Commissioners.
Hello.
So whereas females between the ages of 16 to 24 are more vulnerable to intimate partner violence, experiencing abuse at a rate almost triple the national average, and 1 in 3 adolescent girls in the United States is a victim of physical, emotional, or verbal abuse from a dating partner, a figure that far exceeds victimization rates for other types of violence affecting youth. And even though we primarily have stats for female victims, of course, boys are being affected by this crime as well. Whereas high school students who experience physical violence in a dating relationship are more likely to use drugs and alcohol, are at a greater risk of suicide, and are much more likely to carry patterns of abuse into future relationships. Young people victimized by a dating partner are more likely to engage in risky sexual behavior and unhealthy dieting behaviors, and the experience may disrupt normal development of self-esteem and body image. Nearly half of teens who experience dating violence report that the incidents of abuse took place in a school building or on school grounds. Only 33% of teenagers who are in abusive relationships ever tell anyone about the abuse. And the surprising fact is that 81% of parents who are surveyed either believe that teen dating violence is not an issue, or they admit that they don't know if it's an issue. By providing young people with education about healthy relationships and relationship skills, and by changing attitudes that support violence, we recognize that teen dating violence can be prevented. And it's essential to raise community awareness and to provide training for teachers, counselors, and school staff so that they may recognize when youth are exhibiting signs of dating violence. The establishment of Dating Violence Prevention and Awareness Month benefit youth, their families, schools, and communities regardless of socioeconomic status, gender, race, sexuality. Everyone has the right to a safe and healthy relationship and to be free from abuse. The Domestic Violence Association of Central Kansas needs all of Salina to work toward ending teen dating violence by empowering young people to develop healthier relationships, assisting victims in accessing the information and supportive services they need, creating better and more resources for young people, instituting effective intervention and prevention policies in schools, and engaging in discussion with family members and peers to promote awareness and prevention of the quiet epidemic of teen dating violence. Now, therefore, the City of Salina Board of Commissioners hereby proclaims February 2019 as Teen Dating Violence and urges citizens to recognize and assist all of those who serve the rights and the needs of victims of teen dating violence.
Thank you. I think everyone was paying attention to that.
Nice.
What activities
Yeah, so
are
we have
occurring in Salina
lots of
this
great
month?
activities. I handed some of you the newsletter, and let me know if you want a copy of it. So on February 12th is National Wear Orange Day, so that the color theme is orange for teen dating violence. On the 15th, I'm hosting a lunch and learn at the Salina Public Library, which is on conferences, so all of you teenagers have no excuse not to be there. So that's at 12 o'clock. Downstairs in the Prescott room of the library, just to get both parents, community members, and youth on the same page of what dating violence is, what healthy relationships look like. If you go to Central High School, if you know anyone who goes to Central, every Tuesday in February, I'm teaching a Safe Dates course about healthy relationships during their study hall or ELO. February 14th is Talk About Love Day. you just chalk on the sidewalk. And I'm doing something with a church every Wednesday in February about teen dating violence. So if you have a church, invite them to have me come speak. So really that's my message to you all, get me there and let's just have these conversations. So you can make the events happen. You just tell me where to be.
When is the class at Central High School again?
That is every Tuesday in February during ELO. So I think it's 1:50 to 2:40 p.m. And if you want, I can hand you one of these papers with the information.
At least one of those before the Sadie's dance then, right?
Yes, yeah, we need to get one in before the dance.
All right, excellent. And if you want to come up,
Awesome.
and I will give you this signed.
Thank you so much.
Okay, 3.2.
Item 3.2, the month of February 2019 is Black History Month in the city of Salina. Sierra Braxton, Mose Brown, Braden Holtberg, and Santiago Vasquez will read the proclamation.
Proclamation in celebration of Black History Month, February 2019. Whereas in 1926, historian Carter G. Woodson announced the second week of February to be Black History Week, and in 1976, Black History Month was officially recognized with the support of President Gerald Ford in conjunction with the U.S. bicentennial celebration, and
Black History Month is an opportunity for all Americans to honor the rich cultural heritage and legacy of people of African descent. It is also a time to remember and realize that Black History Month is American history. This time allows us to celebrate the contributions across social, cultural, economic, artistic, and political life in America made by African Americans, and
whereas the citizens of Salina have been the forefront of efforts to establish a compassionate society based on the inherent dignity of all of its members, by taking leadership role in a proactive educational efforts with the end goal of eliminating all forms of discrimination and disadvantage.
Now therefore, I, Trent W. Davis, Mayor of the City of Salina, do hereby proclaim the month of February 2019 Black History Month and urge that every citizen of Salina join me in celebrating the diversity and individual character of each one of our neighbors by recognizing that a fundamental strength of our community is based on the diversity among us. In witness whereof, I hereunto set my hand, cause the seal of Salina, Kansas, to be affixed this day, February 4th, 2019. Trent W. Davis, MD, Mayor, City of Salina. Thank you.
Thank you very much. So if it's a whole month, that means there's some activities going on. Enlighten us.
This past Saturday, there was a For the Cultural Influence program at the Salina Public Library. Oh, and then on the 9th, there will be a Stay Woke, the Great Migration discussion of movement of people of African descent to new destinations and new social realities, which will be at the Smoky Hill Museum, which is on 211 West Iron.
And on Saturday the 16th, I'm short, so I'm going to move that down. On Saturday the 16th at 11 a.m. at the Art Cinema Center, they're doing a lights, camera, action event, and they're going to be watching Tell Them We Are Rising, and after the movie, they will be having a discussion.
On Saturday, February 23rd at 11 a.m. at the Carver Center, 315 North 2nd Street, is an At the Table. It's a brunch. Enjoy smooth sounds of jazz with family and friends over soul food and brunch favorites.
Forgive me. Okay, let's see if I mess this up or not. On Sunday, February 24th, 2019, at 4 p.m. at, University United Methodist Church, we will be having a soul food dinner presented by the Salina NAACP chapter. They present the Being Black in America through the eyes of millennials. For tickets, please contact Sandy Beverly, 785-825-6841. $10 for students, $15 for adults, $20 limited tickets at the door.
Why, thank you very much. And students come in all ages, so just bring your student ID and get the lower price ticket. But all four of you come up to receive this signed copy. There is hope for the future. Very nicely presented. Thank you very much. Citizens Forum. This is a time for citizens who would like to give comments on items not on the agenda. More comments than technical questions, which will have to be farmed out to our staff persons.
Good afternoon. My name is Becky Lampalese, and I'm the Executive Director of the American Red Cross for Central and Western Kansas, and I have an announcement to make, and I'll read a portion of it. The American Red Cross is transforming operations to meet the growing demand for our core mission services: disaster preparedness, response, and recovery, a safe blood supply for patients in need, life-saving health and safety training, vital emergency communications and services for the military, their families, and veterans, and support of our international mission by reinvesting dollars otherwise spent on building maintenance and overhead. To that end, our chapter is consolidating humanitarian and biomedical services into one facility in Salina. The building at 145 South Broadway Boulevard is in the process of being sold, and all operations centrally located at the Blood Donation Center at 120 West Prescott. As stated in our mission, the American Red Cross prevents and alleviates human suffering in the face of emergencies by mobilizing the power of volunteers and the generosity of donors. We want to reassure the city of Salina, the residents of Saline County, and the 59 counties that we serve of Central and Western Kansas that we will continue to deliver the Red Cross services and programs and remain committed to the mission, being the best stewards of our donor dollars. So following this meeting, I'm issuing a press release indicating to the residents and the media, alerting them of our move in Salina.
Thank you very much.
I'm Amy with Extreme Gymnastics Booster Club. I'm the treasurer. Bailey's handing out you guys a little bit of information about what the team is so far and some of the different, there's pictures and stuff on there.
Thank you.
I'll let her finish.
Thank you.
Okay. As we all been hearing, that our team is moving from the current Parks and Rec program is going to be moving to Genesis. And the extreme, so when the team moves, we own a majority of the equipment that's in Memorial Hall now. The Booster Club owns it. There's a small amount that is the city's equipment. So what we would like is to proposition in lieu of payment for the Parks and Rec programs using our equipment, that we receive the small amount of equipment that's owned by the city, that we can take that with us. And Mr. Cotton has been working hard since he's gotten here to try to find us a new place, because we're in Memorial Hall and it's, the facilities just don't accommodate, one, our size, or it's not safe there anymore. So we do have to move. He found us a home, and we just need to see about taking the equipment. And in part, he's working up, in part of the contract with us, the Booster Club owning the equipment, it's to keep the fees down for the Parks and Rec girls, or the recreational classes that come in, to keep those fees down where the community can still afford them, is the idea if we keep our equipment.
Okay. And I might need you to explain part of that again to me.
Okay.
I'm going to look at our department heads and city manager make sure that they understand it, because they're going to probably be the ones to
Yes,
negotiate this.
from a staff perspective, we're aware of the conversations. In fact, there's been conversations at the park board level. And so I think now understanding their intention, understanding their request, we can staff it through for you and bring it back. Some of the things that we need to weigh are just the other programs in the community and equity between giving our equipment to a particular program and coordinating with YMCA and other providers. But I think Chris and staff have been trying to help this program get where they want to be, and we can bring this request back to you after we've staffed it through a little bit.
Just curious, are there any other groups that use the equipment in Memorial Hall now?
Just the recreational classes. So there's like the team classes. We still pay fees to the Parks and Rec Department, so the team still pays for like our monthly fee. And then they also go out and they do fundraising and different things to maintain all the equipment. So all the equipment that the city's owned, our girls have fundraised to maintain it and keep the upkeep, keep it safe. And we've purchased new equipment. So there's very little that the city currently owns that isn't the booster clubs. And one of the major things was our floor. And we've priced new floors and then asked, like, how much is our floor worth? And the floor's so old that it's obsolete. It wouldn't even, if the city kept it, they wouldn't even be able to resell it. But that's something in the future we'd like to look towards for the girls to fundraise for, to get to purchase a new floor. But right now, for the current move, we have to have a gymnastics floor, or we don't.
Okay, and you're moving to where?
Genesis, over, yeah.
All right. I will leave this in the, Mr. Cotton.
What I'd like to clarify is that, what she's explaining is that, so we have an entry-level Parks and Recreation gymnastics program that is mostly tumbling and what I call entry-level activities. Like any sport, the club takes these kids to a higher level. Due to the condition of Memorial Hall, and this commission back in 1964, I believe, July 1st, 1964, decreed that the facility was no longer suitable for public gathering. And it was essentially, I'm not going to say it was mothballed, but due to the cost of maintenance being excessive, it was turned over to the city for mostly administrative purposes. At some point in time, the gymnastics club began using it. Part of what they would like to do in return for use of the Parks and Rec equipment is we would continue to market the Parks and Recreation gymnastics program in our program guide. We would continue to push the program. It would just allow them a bigger, safer space than what they have now. I've witnessed some of their practices. I have safety concerns on the program, continue to operate Memorial Hall. The original cost of the equipment that the city has provided over there was a little over $11,000. I don't know what that would be depreciated out, but the value of the equipment the city owns is nominal compared to what it's costing us to keep the building running for gymnastics. There are other user groups over there right now. There are no plans at this point in time to close Memorial Hall, but we are looking at other options to relocate people so we can get a handle on some of the utilities.
Now, does the Parks and Recs program then transfer to Genesis?
Parks and Rec program and the equipment would stay with the group, not Genesis. They would run the program. We would continue to sponsor the program, but they would be their own business. They would do their own dealings through Genesis. We wouldn't have anything to do with that.
It would be physically located.
It'd be physically located in a space next to the existing health club. It's not going to be in the health club. They're building a new trampoline park, and this would be part of the trampoline park.
And not to get into too much detail at this point, but Chris, you might also touch on if we use that approach for other programming for Parks and Rec right now. We've got some examples of that, right?
We have contracted out some tennis operations. We were losing a lot of money a year on tennis. Genesis does have a tennis pro that took over the program for us, made the program profitable. Again, we got out of have to pay payroll benefits for that. Same with this. All of their instructors have been offered full-time jobs with benefits, something that we can't do at this point in time. We do other training for lifeguarding and other things that we have farmed out and worked with other agencies for. So this is not something new. This is just the way that we are looking to help them grow. They just had a wildly successful event at the Fieldhouse, a gymnastics tournament. Is that the right word, tournament? It was packed, and this will just allow them to continue to grow and recruit new members.
All right. progress.
So we are guaranteed, though, if we turn this equipment over, that Genesis will not own this equipment? And if you guys ever, God forbid, you'd ever disband, but Genesis would not receive the equipment?
The intention would be for the city attorney to draft an agreement between the Parks and Recreation Department and the gymnastics club to be the caretakers of the equipment until such time as it's outlived its usefulness. The floor is out of date, and while it's still usable, it's still safe. They don't make them like that anymore. So once it's outlived its usefulness, we won't have use for it. It does not make good business sense for the Parks and Recreation Department to get back into gymnastics if they're moving out. In other words, for us to hire new instructors and try to start the program again, it's not a good business model.
What guarantee do we have that the little ones that are wanting, that does the tumbling and everything, that wants to sign up, is going to be able to afford the program over there versus the program that they got with the city of Salina?
We would put that in the contract, sir. That their fees would be in there. The existing fees would remain the same.
I mean, it just seems like that we're giving away all of our programs that we've had, the tennis program, we turn over to a for-profit organization. Now we're taking the gymnastics out of the city and we're turning it over to a for-profit organization. I mean, where does it stop?
I don't know where it stops, but I would suggest where it starts is a background in the city staff report that we'll need to prepare for you. We now have the request. We're prepared to staff it through to give you more detail about the things we're talking about and then some. And then we'll bring it back to you to deliberate on those considerations, and we'll definitely identify options for your consideration like we would any other agenda item.
And I'm sure the Extreme and the city have talked. When is your move date, and when do you need a decision by?
I believe you guys are moving in March.
Yeah, Rodney is saying the move will happen in March. We don't
Okay.
have a definite date in March, but that's a tentative time.
That gives us an idea of how aggressively we need to be to address this, so I appreciate that.
And when we do move and take the equipment, there won't be enough equipment to have a program.
When you say take the equipment, take your equipment.
We're
Even
taking
if you left
right.
behind our equipment.
Yeah.
and-
It's outlined in the little thing.
Yeah, I
There's
saw,
just a
yeah.
few things that the Parks and Rec own.
Okay. Thank you.
All right, thank you guys.
Anyone else for the Citizens Forum? All right. We have no public hearings and items scheduled for a certain time. We can now move to the consent agenda.
Item 6.1, approve the minutes of January 28, 2019. Item 6.2, award 2019 ultra-thin bonded asphalt surface project number 90015 to APAC Kansas Incorporated of Salina in the amount of $762,665.45 with a $12,334.55 project contingency. Item 6.3, approve resolution number 19-7661, authorizing the mayor to execute a vault closure agreement, allowing for closure of an underground vault in the public right-of-way located at 223 North Santa Fe Avenue with Poor Man Properties LLC. Item 6.4, approve resolution number 19-7662, authorizing the mayor to execute a vault closure agreement, allowing for closure of an underground vault in the public right-of-way located at 108 North Santa Fe Avenue with Gail K. Rose and Valerie K. Lindenberger doing business as True Betty Boutique. Item 6.5, approve resolution number 19-7663, authorizing the mayor to execute a license agreement allowing continued use of a public right-of-way and an underground vault located at 100 North Santa Fe Avenue with All-in-One Enterprises LLC. Item 6.6, approve resolution number 19-7665, authorizing the mayor to execute an equipment sales agreement with Minot Truck and Equipment for the purchase of a used 2007 Chevrolet 7500 grapple truck in the amount of $72,500.
Thank you. Are there any items that any commissioner would want removed from the consent agenda? Hearing none. Entertain action, discussion.
Mr. Mayor, Mayor Doctor, is that more correct? I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. We can now go on to administration.
Item 7.1, first reading ordinance number 19-10993, authorizing the execution of a loan agreement with the state of Kansas for the purpose of financing the Markley Magnolia sewer system improvements.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This Markley Magnolia Sewer Project has been in the process for many years, and I can honestly say I see the light at the end of the tunnel, and we're going to get it done, and we're going to get it constructed. So this project basically provides sanitary sewer service to about 5 different areas, and they're noted on the map that's included in your packet on page 4. It provides service to the Highland Meadows Hamlet Woodlands Edition, Great Life Golf and Fitness, which was the former Elks Club, Valley View Edition, which is what began this project. They have septic tanks, and Magnolia Hills Estates, and then an undeveloped area that's in the county at this time frame. The project includes a new wastewater pump station and about 8,200 linear feet of gravity sewer. A single wastewater pump station will be installed in lieu of 4 separate pump stations to provide the existing and future growth area. This is very desired for the utilities department to have gravity sewer in lieu of pump stations. We currently have 59, and we think that's enough. We got interested in 4 more. So with this project, the Highland Meadows Hamlet Woodlands Edition pump station will be abandoned, and the Magnolia Hills pump station will be abandoned, and the future growth areas will be served by gravity in lieu of with the single pump station, the Valley View Edition, the undeveloped area, and then Great Life Fitness, or the Elks Club. In August of 2018, staff was authorized to submit an application to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment for a loan from the Kansas Water Pollution Control Revolving Loan Fund. We're on the wastewater side of projects now instead of the water side. And the loan has been approved by them with an amount not to exceed of $2,250,000. The loan is for a 15-year term with an interest rate of 2.5%, and the yearly payment is about $90,700. This loan differs from a bond issue in the fact that we don't receive the $2,250,000 at the time of closing. We have to ask for the money in reimbursements, and we get reimbursed over the course of the project. The loan agreement pledges revenues of the utility for repayment. The loan agreement and the proposed ordinance expressly provides that no lien or other security interest in those revenues is granted by the city to the Kansas Department of Health and Environment. The loan also provides that we are able to levy taxes on tangible and personal and real property within the city limits to make the payment in the event that our utility rates do not cover that. A budget allocation of $2,250,000 for the Markley Magnolia sewer improvements was included in the 2018 capital improvement program, and the loan repayment costs are included in the 2019 to 2023 water and sewer rates. It's anticipated that the first semi-annual payment of a little over $45,000 will be due in September of 2020. Using the state revolving loan fund, we estimated we save about $15,000 per year, or $250,000 over the 15-year life of the loan. So, based on that, staff's recommendation is to adopt ordinance number 19-10993 on first reading, authorizing the execution of a loan agreement with the state of Kansas for the purpose of financing the Markley Magnolia sewer system improvements. I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have.
Commissioners?
I guess my only question is, are we actually getting rid of a pump station by doing this?
We're getting rid of the one at the Highland Meadows Hamlet Edition and a pump station that was put in up in Magnolia Hills to handle 15, 20 homes. So the developer has been maintaining that pump station, and I think he'll be glad to give it to me because the red light comes on sometimes, and that means he has to hire someone to work on it. So he put that in advance, waiting on this project. So he's anxious to see this come to play. So we
always
really
exciting.
are.
Yeah,
Getting rid of one and avoiding 3 other ones, so that's all good news.
it is good news. Thank you.
On average, what would be your guess for how much of the annual loan payment cost is covered by service fees? By the service fees of the people who immediately benefit from this? And if that's too tough
Well,
a question.
immediately would be those in the Valley View Edition.
Right.
Immediately. Magnolia Hills has, for lack of better words, has already paid their freight in their sewer system that's been built up there. So Valley View is the first and foremost to receive benefit. And there's 14 homes, I believe. So small number from that respect, but the long-term growth area is where we're headed.
All right. Thank you. I don't think there are any other questions. Any questions or comments from the public? Or from our staff, from our employees? Trying to see who was in the room here. Okay. All right, turn it back to the commissioners for either further comments or action.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve ordinance number 19-10993.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Moved and seconded to approve ordinance number 19-10993. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Thank you. And development business.
Item 8.1, resolution number 19-7664, authorizing the mayor to execute a license agreement with Eric Shawn and Jessica A. Kendallsberger to allow placement of a private water line in the alley right-of-way located between West Place and Chicago Street south of West Elm Street.
Before we get started, I'm going to recuse myself as my company does have an order on this project. Thank you.
I guess we'll have to bring you back to adjourn, so don't go far.
Thank you, Mayor and Commissioners. This is an application for a license agreement. It's filed by Sean and Jessica Kindlesbarger, and they're seeking your approval to authorize the placement of a private water service line in a public right-of-way. Back in 2017, the Kindlesbargers purchased some vacant lots on the south side of West Elm. That would be west of the downtown area, and they replatted those lots to create 3 60-foot wide lots and a 100-foot wide corner lot, and we're interested in marketing those to contractors and other small businesses to meet their storage needs. They've constructed several non-climatized storage buildings on the lots on the south side of West Elm there. Under Salina's codes, we have a term which is non-climatized. That means the building is built with no heating or cooling, no plumbing. It is essentially used for storage needs, but the applicants have an interested party that wants to purchase the building on Lot 3, and they would like to add office space and restrooms. And due to the fact that there is no public water line in West Elm in front of this property, it necessitates extending a water line from the east to the west from West Place over to the property, and the only route for doing that is a 16-foot wide public alley. There is Westar and AT&T facilities in the alley. Ms. Tasker has a public sewer line in the alley. The utilities do not object to the placement of the private line as long as their existing lines are properly located by the applicant's contractor, And the Utilities Department has conditioned their approval on the water line being installed at least 5 feet north of the existing sewer line. So this agreement that's before you has been developed to authorize property owner to install what would be a privately owned and maintained water line within the public right-of-way. Their rights to be there will be subordinate to the rights of franchise and public utilities. If we have a public project and their line conflicts with that, they'll have to get it out of our way. So there's no direct cost associated with this to the city. The cost of installing the line will be paid by the applicants. And it's recommended that you approve the attached resolution that would authorize the mayor to sign the attached license agreement with Eric Sean Kindlesbarger and Jessica A. Kindlesbarger. With that, I'd be open to any questions.
Questions?
I just have a couple real quick. If additional properties in that area want to hook up to the water line, is that a possibility? And how does that process work? Are we involved in that, or is that between?
That would not be allowed because it's a private line, and that would put a private entity in the business of distributing water to other properties. So it is exclusive for their use. If there was a desire, which has not been expressed by the developer, to set up something like that, then they would have to design this as a public water line, in which case it would be owned by the city and we wouldn't be talking about a license agreement. But the owner, as the request came to us, is that it would be a smaller diameter private service line solely for this building and not for public use.
If it were the same owner, excuse me, the Kindlesbargers, and they opted to put additional buildings on that property, could they then go ahead and extend the line to those other properties, or?
This is exclusive to the building on Lot 3.
Okay.
So the idea, as we understand it, is the Kindlesbarger would like to sell the lot to another party, and that party is going to end up owning this water line in addition to the building on Lot 3. But it's not for the use or benefit of any other user.
Okay, and the change from non-acclimatized storage to an acclimatized facility, that doesn't, I mean, that's all consistent within the light industrial
Yes.
zoning? Okay.
The use is permitted. It has, we have a building permit that's under review. There's some physical modifications that have to be made. Non-climatized storage doesn't require off-street parking, but if you add an office, then the owner's going to have to add off-street parking and plumbing and heating and cooling, and those permits are under review, but this is needed in order to get water to the building.
Thank you.
So just for clarity's sake, if in a building were proposed on an adjacent lot, that building would require a separate private water line, or are there rules for?
There are other buildings over there already that have been built, but they're all being used for non-climatized storage. This was unique because the purchaser didn't want to use it for non-climatized storage. They wanted to create office space and add restrooms. So, like I said, it would have been an option for this, the developer of those 4 buildings, if they so desired. They could have hired an engineer and constructed a public water main, but this was solely for the one building that has public occupancy.
Okay. Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any comments from the public or questions? Seeing none, bring it back to the commissioners for action.
Mr. Mayor, I move that we approve resolution number 197664, authorizing the mayor to execute a license agreement to allow placement of a private water line in the alley right-of-way located at West Place and Chicago Street, south of West Elm Street. Second.
Thank you. Moved and seconded to approve resolution 19-7664. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Well, now, with the, just educate me, with a recusal, that does not affect the final, or does that affect the final tally of the vote?
Well, I think it's simply a matter of it being 4-0 with one abstention would be the way to characterize it.
Thank you. Any other business? Boy, don't tease me. All right.
Getting off, you're getting off very much.
In that case,
For the rest of the commission's benefit, the mayor has other business, presenting a key to the city at the Harlem Globetrotters game in 1 hour and 20 minutes, so.
just trying to decide whether to keep the tie on or ditch the tie. But
Tennis shoes.
I have tennis shoes in the car. Thank you. Entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.